Yes, people. Yes. Younes will be here in a few minutes, but I just saw something that caught my eye just under 2 hours ago. Chelsea transfer tweeted. Talks between Benfica and Chelsea are ongoing regarding the World Cup winning midfielder Enzo Fernandez. I don't know how good the source is, but it looks like it's not over. Looks like it's not over. As Younes just dropped me a message, you'll be here in 5 minutes. It's been an active day for Chelsea. Big up everyone that has joined. Big up everyone that was in the previous live with myself and Guns, aka Lee Gunner. It's been a mad day, innit? The João Felix news, obviously. I don't know how much of an update this is, but we have another tweet since the one that we shared in the previous live. Chelsea and Atletico Madrid are now completing final details of João Felix deal as Blues want to be fast and get it 100% sealed this week. Full agreement on personal terms as João has accepted the Chelsea move that will cover his full salary until the 30th of June. Now, listen, I'm not really going to go into detail or even ask Younes too much about his thoughts on this because, one, I've got the João Felix video in the back end that's uploading, right? And that's going to be made available after this stream. Probably about 20 minutes after this stream, I'll put it up. Because the last one that I did, you lot didn't go and watch it. So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer and I'll post that one. But João Felix, do you know what? Let me see what everybody else is saying. How does everyone else feel about João Felix? Let me use this time to gauge what the chat's feeling about João Felix is. Big up Italy. Graham Potter does not see some players as part of his Chelsea plan. Most are big on salaries and will be hard to move on. Felix, what's he going to do with our midfield and other attackers? Facts. From an FFP point of view, that's true. But I would also like for us to get some wages off the books. Because I know it's not going to be, his wages ain't cheap. Rather a midfielder or a right back. Well, David Ornstein earlier did say, yeah, that we're going to be going for other target. What other targets he means, I have no idea. But in this tweet, as you can see, I shared this one earlier. The final bit of it says more reinforcements to follow this month. But people, I want to get you lot used to something. You see, even when these guys, your Romanos and your Einsteins and all them, man, tweet, take it with a pinch of salt, please. Because it's not done until the shirt's up, players shaking hands, and a deal, and a done deal. You get me? Felix will improve our attack. Not the top of the shopping list for me. We're talking about offloading players. What clubs will want them, i.e. Mason Mount. Got Younes in the building. Going on, Younes?
Yes, guys. How's it going? Oh, well, and Guni's dipped.
Whoops.
I'm hijacking the show, yeah?
My bad. I didn't want to make this too much about João Felix because I do have a video uploaded in the back end, and I'm pretty sure that
Fair.
You haven't already. You're probably got something coming up on João Felix, so I think we should make the people wait. Guni's going to be a little bit mean to the followers. You guys are going to have to wait for our point of views. How about that? Yeah, no, I'm joking. But Younes, my bro, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm better today, that's for sure. But yeah, man, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm better today, that's for sure. I'm sure. Well, I saw your video. You weren't happy.
So yours, you weren't either.
Yeah, I was absolutely furious, to be completely honest with you. The
Fair play, fair play.
first time since I can remember I've ever had to switch off the TV at halftime. I've
There was
been
quite a lot that said the same thing.
I've
Yeah.
been listen, I've been to countless Chelsea games, more than I can even remember. Not once have I ever walked out before the final whistle. Never.
Yep.
Yesterday, I don't know what happened. I couldn't. If someone asked me why'd you do that, I couldn't tell you why. I think it just all came to like a boil. It was just like, I've had enough. This is the most that I can take. So that was the result. But you didn't sound too happy about Graham Potter, as you haven't over the past few weeks. Have you finally come to that conclusion of what you want doing with Graham Potter? Do you feel that he deserves some more time? Or does Potter need to leave as of yesterday?
I mean, we got to be real. It's not going to be a situation where you can just sack someone tomorrow, right? But does he have to go eventually? Yeah. 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 I don't see how we're going to move forward. I don't see how he's the right man to lead a rebuild. There is going to be a rebuild. I'm on board with a rebuild completely. I understand we have to move on from the ways that we used to do under Roman. Albeit it was a successful 20-25 years, completely, very long time, and we got trophies in that time. But yeah, it'll be nice to build something sustainable. But is Potter the right guy to lead? I don't think so. So I would say, yeah, even if it's not a case of get rid of him now, because you need to prepare. There needs to be a contingency plan in place. There needs to be a case of who you're going to bring in. Is it going to be someone short term? Is it going to be someone that's ready now? The names are quite few, albeit yes, there is Zidane, there's Luis Enrique. Poch apparently has already come out and said, I'm not moving anywhere that I've been, that's a rival to where I've been affiliated to, so that's probably not going to happen. So we got to be real. That's why I'm saying, like, even if it means he's not going to get the chop tomorrow, next week, even this month, but towards the end of this season, there has to be a point, I think, where it's not going to get better, and I think he's going to have to go. That's just how I see it. And then get someone in that's actually going to be, that I would say, we can really identify with, even in terms of what we're trying to do. Someone that we can really, really back and go, no, you know what? There's a good feeling around this guy. He has a plan. We know what we're trying to do with him. He knows what he's trying to get out of this team. He knows how we're trying to play. Just the basics that everyone seems to be looking for. That's not there. And then we can move forward, in my opinion. Instead of my fear, this is my fear, because we're in January, is that we actually start to back him. We start to get some signings, albeit if it's the ones that he wants. And then we end up in the same situation in a few months. And then it's not just a mismatch of the players from the past managers, but now it's a mismatch of players, including with Potter. Like, we don't want that either. So, yeah, that's my overall opinion. I don't see it getting better.
No, I hear you. Now, before obviously we get into it, let me read this super chat first. Actually, Josh Thorpe, thank you for the super chat. What's up, Guni and my man Younes with the fresh trim? Trust
Had to be
me,
done.
Younes with the fresh frame.
I might go and replace Kai Havertz for the next game. How does that sound?
There you go. That sounds good. That sounds good. Anything sounds good. Yeah, over Kai Havertz, bruv. I'd be happy if Barney Dinosaur was up front instead of him the next game. Seriously, it's come to that point. But I just want to give a quick caveat, quick disclaimer to people that don't entirely know what my stance is with Graham Potter and this whole management situation. There are only there's only two situations for me where I'll call for this manager to be sacked this season. The first one being the obvious: if we get too close to the relegation zone and it's not looking like it's going to get any better, that's a given. The second one is if he makes long-term decisions that appear to be detrimental to this club. And what I mean by that is, which contracts are you going to renew and which contracts are you going to get out of the door? I need to see that. Yeah, that's where you will either gain or lose the majority of my trust, because I've always maintained this is a long-term thing. This is not going to be an overnight fix. This is going to take its time. So that's my stance on Graham Potter at the minute. I dare you to re-sign Jorginho. I dare you to re-sign an Azpilicueta or someone like that, and we'll see. Yeah, this will change real fast. I'll be poster boy of Graham Potter out real quick. Everybody out. I would want a massacre at Chelsea. Everybody gone. Yeah, I wouldn't stand for that. But As of now, that hasn't happened, thankfully. Yeah. And thankfully, even further, Todd Boehly has stepped down from the interim sporting
Yeah.
director role, which is very positive news for me. And I'm pretty sure it's even positive news for him. Christopher Vivell and Paul Winstanley have stepped in. Two men that seem very capable in what they do. They are renowned for getting the youth talent in early before they turn into 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 million euro players, pound players, whatever you want to say. So it's good that we've got them both on board. Now, bearing in mind that, yeah, are you not willing to at least give Graham Potter this January, right, to get players through the door and see what caliber, number one, and number two, what has been addressed? If it's a positive window, would you give them another chance? Or is that ship sailed for you?
And this is the thing. I think that's going to happen anyway. Do you know what I mean? I think regardless of an opinion, that's going to be the case. And realistically, I want to say realistically, with a manager in charge who's not been here for too long, that's the ideal situation for sure. My problem comes from Potter's authority on this team right now. And I think it's a case of even if he were to get players in, I don't see how he has control. This is my problem. It doesn't look like there's any control, and it doesn't look like he has a way to at least try and get something done, even if it's minuscule. Whether it's getting the right people, the right players on the pitch, whether it's making the right decisions during the game, whether it's being able to. I don't want to use the word motivate and all of that because I do think there's a responsibility on the part of the players too. But I honestly think it's the basic fundamental rule that if you see the entire squad down tools, it points to the gaffer. This is what happened after the first goal yesterday. Everyone gave up. It's like, what on earth is going on? Young and senior. You know what I mean? The young, you can't blame the especially players like Bashir Humphreys. You can't really, bloody hell, he made his debut. Can't really give him, too much slack on that. But when you look to everyone down in straight away, and then after the game, you hear him come out and say, I don't think it was a poor attitude from the senior players. I mean, it's these little things. It makes me. I've got two scenarios in my head, and I don't quite know which way it's leaning. But whatever way it's leaning, there's a problem. If he is being backed completely, he's got the full support of the boardroom. He's got the full support of the owners, as being portrayed. He's got a 5-year contract. He should have nothing to worry about. He should slam his authority right now and now. Do you know what I mean? Easily. He's got nothing to be scared of. He's not going to get sacked. Do you know what I mean? What are you being afraid of? We're not getting that. So that makes me think that maybe his job is in jeopardy, or he thinks there might be a chance of it being in jeopardy, which means he's not completely secure, which means what we're hearing isn't actually factual. If he's completely secure and he's not stamping his authority down and he's just accepting what he's seeing, this could go down fast, really, really badly. This is where I honestly think that there's a case to be made where if you were to bring someone in, it would at least fix us in the short term. But I'm not thinking short term. I'm thinking who is the right guy to lead us long term. And right now, we've not seen anything from Potter to prove to us that he's going to be capable of doing that. That's my problem. But
then what if I flipped it and I said, look, as much as I agree, there's aspects where I really agree with you, tactically and personnel selection, right? He needs to massively improve on those things. And also as well, how he addresses the media. He needs to improve on those 3 things, right? But let's just rewind time a little bit. We're going to go back to Frank Lampard, or even Sarri, right? To be fair, although he brought one of the key problems now in the club, Sarri. I have a problem with the mentality of certain players in this squad. I can't see us competing for any titles. He's gone. Frank Lampard. I need to have control of this squad and get rid of certain players and bring in the players that I feel are going to work and that are going to be motivated. Yeah. Lack of motivation again. He complained about that. Yeah. Thomas Tuchel, he said, the reason why we're getting the same results is because we're getting the same players. basically saying the same thing. Now Potter's having to deal with several of these core players in this squad. Don't you think that they should be holding a lot more of the accountability than Graham Potter? Because another thing that I will say is, despite Lampard, Tuchel, right, and now Potter, this sideways, backwards football didn't start under Potter, didn't start under Tuchel, didn't really start under Lampard like that. Well, it kind of did after Sarri left, but we've been stuck in that piece of mud ever since. And we're seeing the same results. So is it really entirely down to the manager? Do you think somebody else, another manager, right, which we're going to come on to because we're going to start exploring different names. Do you think another manager with this core could at least challenge for a domestic trophy or even finish top 4 with this squad?
Not even in terms of challenging for a trophy or anything like that. I understand it's going to be a rebuild. Completely agree. But if we go back to the names you mentioned, Sarri, despite him not being very popular, especially amongst the match-going fans, everyone knew what he was trying to do. You knew exactly what the blueprint was. Why? Especially after you saw what he done at Napoli, you saw him try and implement that straight away. And it was a transition of going from playing defensive football to now playing a little bit more attacking. It was the first switch that we had since Conte, Mourinho, etc. Right? You knew. And then it got to a point, and to be honest, even with that, in terms of the league, it wasn't a disaster. We won the Europa League. I mean, fair play to Sarri. At the end of the day, that was a decent season when you think about the circumstances, right? So there's that. You knew what he was trying to do. Lampard come in, and to be fair, he had the circumstance of the transfer ban and whatnot. Cool. Even with Lamps, you had an idea of what was trying to be done, and that wasn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It got to a point where you could just sense that the dressing room was starting to get lost. It was more a case of things starting to break down between player and manager, right? Tuchel coming straight away from that game against Wolves, you knew exactly what he was trying to do.
You could see it
against Wolves, you could see it. It was
100%.
clear.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And we were playing sideways, backwards towards the end of Lampard, especially, right? And that was annoying. Tuchel come in, and it changed. And from that point, we went on a mad upward trajectory. That shows to me, right? He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Cool. We now have someone we can trust. He has a plan. Okay, we move ahead with this.
Hold on. Let's stop right there at that point. When Tuchel came in, what did he have? A fit N'Golo Kante, a fit Reece James, a fit Ben Chilwell. All 3 of those players were key to any system that we play. And if any team in the world lost those 3 players, they would suffer. Mm-hmm. That's basically the meat and bones of our team gone. We're just left with scraps after that. You see what I mean? And now on top of that, it's the added fact that, look, it's not his fault, it's not our fault. But this is something that we've got to bear in mind. This is Potter's first elite level club. There has to be, right? Unless it gets seriously extreme, like I said, there has to be a little cushion for him of understanding for him to make that. You see what I'm saying?
This goes to the point whether this should have happened in the first place then. Do you know what I mean? Especially with a 5-year deal, 60 million pounds.
That's
a bold move, and I think it's a mistake. That's my problem. Chelsea, I honestly think, should be getting in someone that has experienced the game at an elite level. I'm not saying get the current Real Madrid or PSG or Juve I'm not saying turn to those guys. No, but someone that has a level of experience amongst being able to manage high personalities, at least a little bit. Least a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Our history of managers that have come and gone that have been successful have been managers of that caliber. That's just the reality. We can be patient, completely patient, and go, no, you know what? He's going to learn on the job. But if that's the case, we have to be ready to write off the next 3 seasons.
I wouldn't. That one I
would say you'll go 3 seasons.
I couldn't sit down and just do that for 3 seasons. I couldn't. And again, look, once it's like I said, if I see good recruitment this month, right, and I understand that you can't get all your main targets in January, it's a notorious hard month to do so, yeah,
No.
and we get our targets in summer, and we've addressed key areas. That's not hard. Right back, we can do this January. We can do one CDM in January and another number 6 CDM, whatever you want to call it, in the summer, right? That's already massively boosted the quality of our team, in my honest opinion. At that point is when I say, if you are drifting from top 4 by December, my friend, you must get out. That's it. I got no time for it. That's what I tell him, straight up and down. You must get out. You see what I mean?
But this is the problem. This is where, if that were to happen at that point, we'd be in the same cycle that we were in terms of having managers, having players from previous managers.
But would we? Because at least the next manager that comes in has got a midfield that's functional and that's balanced and can actually work from there. Yeah, because the past several managers haven't. Lampard came into this team. Yeah, and this is why, regardless of how shit of a manager that he is, yeah, I will always say that man took the wrong role in football. He should have been a director of football, someone involved in recruitment or something. 100%.
Yeah, scouting or
he should have been, bro. He wanted Jorginho out. Do you remember how we hated Jorginho? He didn't want to play him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wanted him out of the door. Right, he wanted to bring in Declan Rice, who apparently we could have got between 25 and 30 million at that time. Yeah, he said Ben Chilwell is not enough on his own, and he didn't like Marcus Alonso. Go and get me Cucurella for 25 million pounds. They'll sell him for that much. Right. The two things that he did do, yeah, one is unforgivable. And if I sat down in a room with him, I would love to ask him how he let it happen. Number one, he wanted to freeze out Rudiger and get him out of the squad. That's number one. The second one was the most, this was horrible. When Musiala left the club, that one was painful. That one was so painful.
You've held on to that one since.
Yeah, and the way he dealt with it was like, you know, fair play to him. It's Chelsea Football Club. It's a top level club. He said all this, but he didn't want to stay. I'm not going to force him to do nothing. I was like, bro, this guy is special. You do what you can to keep him at the club. But I felt that he let him go too easy. But the point remains, listen, the midfield ain't been sorted out. But at least, look, if Potter gets fired at that point, we could say, all right, the next manager that comes in, yeah, he's got the tools at least to build from, or at least to get a decent finish and to perhaps go in some decent cup runs. Yeah, that way you hire experience and a proven winner. We should be in a better stage at that point.
Realistically, you'd think. But this is my issue. My issue is that I don't feel convinced, right, that Potter's going to be able to change all the things that he actually has to change for himself. Just his own demeanor, his own character, his own approach, his own philosophy, you know, or at least to come up with a plan that's going to be sufficient enough. I get a vibe of, and this because this goes back to Thomas Tuchel, right? As to why he got sacked in the first place. Tuchel got sacked in the first place because apparently it wasn't even to do with the problems on the pitch and some of the results. It was more to do with the vision of the club in terms of the future. And apparently they disagreed completely on where they wanted the club to go or the role that Tuchel was going to have in the club, which he didn't quite want. It was more to do with that, right? So Tuchel ends up going. I just get the vibe that I get, and you read it in the body language of the players and you read it in the body language of him, is that Todd Boehly and the board and the new owners got someone in who's agreeable. Someone that they can just say, we want it this way, we want it that way, we want it this way. Yes, no problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. And then you start hearing about some of the transfers, and it's not even a case of Potter coming along and going, this is what I want. It's more data driven. It's more on the profile that the club think is correct. And Potter is going to go, yes, okay. That's the vibe that I feel, where we know Tuchel's not that guy. Tuchel's not someone that's just going to go, yeah, no worries. All right. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
Southgate is probably someone that we read it for England. And that's the problem that many people have when it comes to Southgate in the England job. That's just the vibe that I get. You see it in the body language of Potter during game and week in, week out, body language of the players. As I said, it goes back to the point. If you see 4, 5, 6 players, right, that are playing crap, right, but you see a few that are on it, it's okay. And overall, it's not quite working. fine, there's something to work with there. You can try and just get rid of those bad mushrooms, right? Or those bad apples and start throwing them one by one, much like Arteta did at Arsenal, right? You can start doing that, right? When you see everyone drop, that's my concern. You can't sack a whole squad. You can't. So it comes to control and authority, whether someone actually has a grip on the dressing room. I honestly am beginning to think the dressing room has been lost. That's my problem.
I mean, it's hard to tell. I can see why you feel that way. Because the results on the pitch ain't showing and the body language isn't great.
Albeit, yes, I there is a case of, you start to get rid of some players and you start to bring players in, and
but then this is my question, right? Out of all of the players in this Chelsea squad, if you can name me 10 out of a 25-man squad, yeah, and of those 10, they must be ready to play now, not youth several years later. If you can name me 10, I'll agree with you. Let's go through it.
10
players, senior players, first teamers.
Yeah.
Mendy.
We've all got doubts now, haven't we?
Kepa. Bettinelli.
I mean, he's there for the bench.
All three of them, I haven't had a solid answer from you. So that's a no on all three. I need a solid yes from you before I'm sure. Reece James.
Yeah, 100%.
Azpilicueta.
Not anymore.
There you go. Thiago Silva.
Yes.
He stays. He's Superman. Koulibaly.
There's doubts, but you know what's mad about Koulibaly? I look at Koulibaly the same way I look at Rudiger when he was messing up under Lampard and before that, and he was looking all shaky, and then he turned into a monster. Koulibaly, I don't think he's a bad player. He is 31. I don't think he's a bad player. But there's tons of mistakes lately. So
that's two players that we've kept. That's Thiago Silva and Reece James. Trevor Chalobah. Personally, I keep him.
Yeah.
That's free. Fofana, we keep him. It's only one season. Yeah. On that left side, Ben Chilwell, keep.
Yeah.
Cucurella, keep.
Yeah.
Let's move to the midfield. Jorginho.
Out.
Kante.
Keep. For now, keep.
I'm 50-50 because of his injury record. But in terms of the principle, on the principle that he plays, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool.
That's where I'm looking at. Yeah.
Kovacic.
Even cover for now, keep.
I'd say sell.
Not yet. I'd get Jorginho out first. Cover later.
Loftus-Cheek.
Out.
Conor Gallagher.
Out.
Mason Mount. There's your answer.
If there's good money, I'd sell.
There's your answer. Yeah. Now we go to the attackers, right? Pulisic.
Yeah, out.
Ziyech.
He's so hot and cold with Ziyech. I honestly don't know at this point. Yeah. Down the line, he's out. Down the line.
Havertz.
Yeah, gone.
Aubameyang.
Do we need to discuss Aubameyang? Yeah.
Raheem Sterling.
Sterling, I'd keep.
Out of every single one of those players that I've mentioned, you were very close. But close doesn't win you the grand prize. You got to 9. 9 players that are fit and ready now. And I even allowed you with the injuries. Yeah? Where are you going with that?
No, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I've made it clear. There are players that need to be chopped. Right? I think the players that need to be chopped under the right leadership, though. This is my problem. I think the players that need to be sold, there's quite a lot of them, as we've just listed. They need to go, 100%. But because they need to go, it doesn't mean they are 100% completely and utterly useless. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not black and white. There's loads of grey. So they're not at the level we need here. But a few of those names are about here. They're not on the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So overall, when they're playing, I still expect better than what we're seeing now. I'm not expecting title winning team. I'm not expecting trophies. I'm not even expecting to go far in competitions. But to be 10th and out of both cup competitions at the first hurdle, and still having to play some big games, and we could go lower, is a madness.
It's concerning. Yeah, it's a huge mess, and obviously there are standards we need to keep. And as of now, we've definitely fallen below those standards. We 100% have. And I just need people to be clear. Just because, like, I'm not all up in arms and I'm not panicking, right? Doesn't mean that I want us to be here. This brings me no joy.
No, 100%.
This reaction comes from what I said to you at the beginning of the season, is that I see a capitulation happening. Yeah. I see this season being ugly. I see this is the season where we're going to get our pants pulled down and get exposed. But on the flip side of it, this might be what it takes for the full hard reset, for the gutting of this club, what was needed. So I'm in the mind state of, and I've been, if I am promised a revamp of this squad, rubbish out, quality in, would I take a shit season just for that transition? Not that I have a choice, but I reluctantly said, you know what, cool, I'll do that. Only if it means we're going forward in the right direction and we're making the plans to do so now. Yeah, no later on down the line, now. So far, we've been showing that we're trying to do it. It hasn't been perfect. We've hired people in the recruitment. We're trying to get transfers through the door. 31st of January is going to be the first stage of judgment. So let's see. But Henry Fowler, thank you very much for the super chat. Happy New Year to you both. I may have missed it. If not, you guys spoke on Kai yet, but he needs a real striker in front of him. The role he is playing now is limiting him. Okay, so a couple of things before we get into this. First of all, we've got 903 people in the building, so please smash up that like button while you were here. If you're also new to the platform, please hit that subscribe button as well. We're trying to get to 15K so we can start the road to 20K. So people, I'd really appreciate your support. Big up everybody that has already been doing that. The usual faces, usual supporters. I see you in the chat. You get me? It's always love over here. And as well, what was the next thing I was going to say, Younes? I forgot.
I don't know. I was waiting for your take on Kai, but...
Oh, yeah. So there's the take on Kai. Oh, yeah, that was it. I was going to ask you, how much more time do you have left?
Oh, a few minutes. Okay,
so cool. So Kai Havertz, since we were asked about him, let's use these last few minutes to discuss Kai Havertz. So Kai Havertz has been asked to do several roles. He's been asked to play out wide, right wing, left wing. Didn't quite work out for him right there. Down the middle, you know, whether you want to call it false nine or number 9, to me, he's not so much different from a number 9. But sometimes he does show the attributes of the false 9 when he does drop in and get involved in games in deeper positions, likes to connect play between that midfield and the attack. He does that sometimes, but not all the time. Mostly he plays a number 9 role. Do you feel it's a case of he needs another player behind him to take the burden of creativity from him? Or is it a case of get rid?
At this point, honestly, I'm starting to feel just get rid.
Yeah, same here.
I'm starting to feel scammed. I'm starting to feel scammed, man. I mean, like yesterday, man wanted to play volleyball. I don't know. It goes beyond position and being in the right place at the right time or making the right run. I think it goes beyond that. It just goes, I think, his own personality, his own mentality, his fear, I feel, and what he does on and off the ball. Yesterday, times on the ball, much like against Forest and times before that, yesterday, you can just see there's simple passes to be made, simple from here to there. and he can see it's about to get intercepted. You don't need Einstein to come and show you how someone's about to step in and block that path. He makes it. It's not even a strong pass. It's a slow one. It gets intercepted. Shoulders up, shrug again. And it's just the same thing over and over again. Up top, it's slow, it's lethargic. At times, as I've said, it just looks like he's scared. Looks like he's scared. He's fearful. Very, very, very soft. I don't understand it. And yes, overall, I think when you look at the hype, I think a lot of it comes from what he achieved in that season when we won the Champions League, including the Champions League winning goal. I think he's rode on that for quite some time, and we've not seen anything since. And people have been patient. Again, it's not about seeing the finished article. He's 23, approaching 24. Yeah, it's not about seeing the best Kai Havertz, but it's about seeing progress. It's about seeing that trajectory. And if you're not seeing that, you have to question where it's going. He's stagnated and now it's coming down. And when you're at that age, you simply can't have that at a top club. You can't have that. And right now, when you look at Chukwuemeka and you see what he was like and how he was playing and what he said after that first game against City about being young and not playing with fear because you've got nothing to lose. You're young, go out there and show what you can do, and you're only going to get better if you fully have confidence in yourself and you trust your ability. That was beautiful to hear and beautiful to see because you saw his impact. Great play from him. Havertz is the complete opposite. Takes too long, always has to go backwards, hesitates, passes soft, moves soft, gets hit soft.
Another thing that he did that really annoyed me the other day, Aubameyang bent a beautiful run. Had he timed or even had the balls to risk the pass, Aubameyang, clean pass, just one-on-one, chances are he's scoring it. What does he do? Switches it to the other side, to the fullback. I lost my head.
It kills the action. It kills everything.
With me, I'm sorry. Kai Havertz, I've been patient enough. I've been way patient enough. And I can name several players I feel would do a better job than he would. It's just not worked. While his value's up, while Bayern are interested, please, Chelsea, sell. It's a bust. Get rid of him and recruit better. But before we go, just going to read out this last super chat. Well said. I said the same thing during the World Cup. I'm assuming Henry's talking about Kai Havertz. Thank you very much for the super chat, Henry. But people, once again, smash that subscribe button if you are new. We're trying to get to 15K so we can start the road to 20K. Smash that like button. Get us up in the algorithm. If you're watching after the live, leave your thoughts down there in the comments. Switch on a notification bell as well. Younes, what have you got coming up on your channel, or what have you already uploaded that you would like the people to see?
Not uploaded anything yet. It's going to be coming tonight. Obviously, there's the news on Felix.
Yep.
That came out of nowhere.
Yep.
So there's that. I'll mention my thoughts on that saga. Todd Boehly and relinquishing the sporting director role. I'll give my thoughts on that. And some other bits and pieces as the fallout from yesterday's game is still there. So, yeah, that'll be uploaded tonight. And then we build up for the game against Fulham, who I believe are the best placed team of West London in
West
the league
London
right
at the minute. It's not looking good. Either them or Brentford. All I know is that we're below both of them. And likewise, people, the João Felix video that I've done is actually in the back end right now. I don't know whether to make it go live now, because last time I did that, I didn't get many views directly after a live. So I might just wait 30 minutes or so, for that video to come out, people. So make sure you do go and support that. Smash the likes up and get the views up on that one. You didn't do a great job on the last one, so help me do better on this one. Ben Highsmith, thank you for the super chat. Guni is everywhere, and I'm here for it. Yep, consistency season is back. I've missed being on a consistent role on this YouTube thing. It's good to be back interacting with all of you lot. T1, thank you very much. Is the constant change in managers reason why our young attackers have stagnated? Look at Arsenal young players, one manager and constantly playing all the time. I believe it's a mixture of injuries as well and poor recruitment. Remember, a lot of our youth players haven't had the luxury of playing consistently in one position their entire time they've been at Chelsea. And that's what I've been saying about Mason Mount. I strongly believe that there wasn't a bad player in there to begin with, but I do entirely point the finger at Chelsea Football Club. by providing him with an environment that wasn't going to be conducive to his development. He is where he is now because of Chelsea. We mismanaged him. We asked him to play several different positions. We overplay him. We haven't given him any time to focus on a position. And now this is the fruits of it. You understand? And if we're not careful, if we don't recruit properly, we will see several other youth players going the same way, unfortunately. But people, like I said, make sure you check out the João Felix video. Should be coming out in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Definitely check that out. Also, subscribe, all that good stuff. Most important thing is, though, people, make sure you all stay safe. I got one more super chat before I was about to go. You're lucky. You snuck that in just in the nick of time, my friend. Shady Nation,
95th minute winner right there.
Yeah, Shady Nation, thank you very much for the super chat. Kai needs a player like Felix to create for him. Fair play. Well, listen, he might get his wish. You might get your wish. Kai Havertz might get his partner in João Felix, and he might be firing. But people, listen, we are out. Bless up the Chelsea. Southgate out.